Why everything changes even more after $20,000. Everyone talks about your first dollar invested. Your first thousand. The big milestone when you hit $10,000 saved. But nobody warns you about what happens at $20,000. Because at $20,000, the entire game changes. The math changes. Your options change. Even you change. And if you don't understand why this number is so different, you might blow right past it and never realize what you just unlocked. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what shifts at $20,000, and why, if you're anywhere near this number, you need to pay close attention. Let's start at the beginning, because context matters. When you're going from $0 to $1,000, almost everything is a mental game. You're fighting habits. Fighting impulse spending. You're proving to yourself that saving is even possible. At this stage, compounding barely helps you. If you have $500 invested at a 10% annual return, that's $50 in a year. That doesn't change your life. That's a nice dinner. The work you're doing at this stage is important, but it's almost entirely behavioral. You're building the muscle, not the machine. Most people don't even realize they're stuck here. They think the problem is income. Or the market. Or that they just don't earn enough. But the truth is, the first $1,000 is about who you are becoming, not what the money is doing. Once you hit $1,000 and start climbing toward $10,000, something small but real begins to happen. Compounding starts to whisper. Not shout, whisper. $5,000 at 10% annual return gives you $500 in a year. That's a car payment. That's a few months of groceries. You start to feel the money working. But here's the big thing that happens between $1,000 and $10,000, you stop thinking like a spender and start thinking like an owner. You start tracking your net worth. You start reading about index funds, ETFs, interest rates. You start getting annoyed when you spend money wastefully, not because you're cheap, but because you know that $200 could be growing. This is the identity shift. From consumer to investor. And it's powerful. But, and this is important, the actual financial leverage you have at this stage is still limited. You're building momentum. The real acceleration hasn't started yet. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. And I mean really interesting. The difference between $10,000 and $20,000 isn't just double the money. It's a threshold, a point where multiple forces align at the same time. Let me break down exactly why $20,000 is so different. First, at $20,000, most people finally have a real emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, fully funded and set aside. That means the money beyond the emergency fund can be put entirely to work. No more holding back. No more keeping huge cash reserves just in case. Before this point, you're always half invested, half scared. After this point, you can invest with conviction. Second, at $20,000 in savings and investments, doors start to open that were literally closed to you before. Certain brokerage accounts require minimum balances. Some bond funds, real estate crowdfunding platforms, and alternative investments have floors of $10,000 to $25,000. You start getting access to slightly better interest rates on high-yield savings. You can start thinking about treasury bonds directly. Some investment vehicles, like I-bonds, have annual purchase limits that you can now actually maximize. The universe of options expands. And third, the math. This is the big one. At $20,000 invested at a 10% annual return, you earn $2,000 in a year without doing anything. That $2,000 then also gets invested. Next year, it's not $20,000 growing, it's $22,000 growing. In year 3, $24,200. Then $26,620. Then $29,282. You haven't added a single dollar. The money is hiring itself to work for you. At $1,000? That was $100 a year. Barely noticeable. At $20,000? It starts to genuinely supplement your savings contributions. Let me give you some real numbers, because this is the part that should either motivate you or wake you up. If you invest $20,000 today and never add another cent, here's what happens at 10% average annual return. In 30 years, $20,000, with zero additional contributions, becomes nearly $350,000. But now, what if you keep investing? What if you hit $20,000 and then keep adding $500 a month? In 30 years? You're looking at over $1.1 million. The $20,000 wasn't the finish line. It was the launch pad. This is why personal finance experts have always said, the first $100,000 is the hardest. Because the closer you get to it, the more your money does the work for you. $20,000 is the first major checkpoint on that road. Now I want to talk about something nobody in finance talks about enough, the psychological shift that happens at $20,000. Because the numbers matter. But the mental change? That might matter even more. When you have $20,000 saved and invested, you have options. Real options. Not theoretical ones. You can quit a toxic job without panic, because you have a financial cushion and growing investments. You can negotiate better salary, freelance rates, business deals, because you're not desperate. You can say no to bad opportunities. And saying no is one of the most powerful financial moves you can make. Psychologists call this financial security confidence. I call it, not making fear-based decisions with your money. Before $20,000, money controls you. You chase every opportunity because you feel like you can't afford to miss any. After $20,000, you start to control the money. You become selective, strategic, patient. And patience is the single biggest advantage any investor can have. So let's say you're there. Or you're close. What should you actually do when you reach $20,000? Here's the framework I'd recommend. Make sure at least $6,000 to $10,000 of that sits in a high-yield savings account, completely liquid, completely untouched. That's your firewall. It protects everything else. If you haven't maxed your Roth IRA for the year, do that first. You're allowed to invest up to $7,000 per year, Indian rupee equivalent if you're in India. Look into ELSS funds and PPF. This money grows tax-free. It is one of the best deals in investing. If your employer offers a 401k match, and you're not capturing the full match, you are literally leaving free money on the table. Once your emergency fund is set and your tax-advantaged accounts are maximized, put the rest into a simple, diversified index fund. S&P 500 Index. Total Market Fund. Nifty 50 if you're in India. Don't overthink it. Don't try to beat the market. Just own the market. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. The most important thing you can do at $20,000 is not stop. Set up an automatic monthly transfer. $200. $500. Whatever you can. Automate it so it happens before you can spend it. The machine is running. Just keep feeding it. There's a reason Warren Buffett calls compound interest the snowball effect. And he literally titled his biography The Snowball. When you're starting from zero, you're at the top of the hill. The snowball is tiny. Every push feels like massive effort for tiny results. At $20,000, you're halfway down the hill. The snowball has real mass now. It's picking up speed. The same push, the same monthly contribution, now creates more momentum than it did before. And by the time you're at $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, you barely need to push at all. The hill is doing the work. The wealthy don't have a secret. They don't have special access. Most of them just understood this principle early, started the snowball early, and had the discipline to not stop it. You can do the exact same thing. The hill is the same hill. You just have to get the snowball rolling. So here's the summary, and I want you to really let this land. $20,000 is not just a number. It's the point where compounding becomes visible. Where your options expand. Where your psychology shifts from fear to confidence. Where the snowball starts rolling on its own. You don't need to be rich to get here. You need consistency, patience, and a plan. If you're already past $20,000, congratulations. The next milestone is $100,000, and the principles are the same, just bigger, faster, more powerful. If you're not there yet, this is your why. Every dollar you save from here forward is getting you to that inflection point faster. If this video helped you understand why this milestone matters, give it a like and share it with someone who's on this journey. Drop your current savings milestone in the comments. I love hearing where people are and cheering them on. And if you want the next video on what happens after $100,000, subscribe, because that one is even more wild. I'll see you in the next one.